everybody, welcome to another ranking video. I'm taking a break from the faction tier list and I want to do something that I've thought about for a while. Top 25 non-leaders. And what that means is just that they don't have the leader tag. There's plenty of characters that have the leader tag that never really use it, and they're mostly just support characters or team members, and you're not using them in the leadership, but they don't count. So like bounty hunters are automatically disqualified because every bounty hunter has a leadership, and inquisitors are disqualified, not that they'd make it anyway, because they all have leaderships. And there's a couple reasons why this isn't in a tier list format. It's just a straight ranking. It's going to be rank 25 here all the way to rank 1 here. And because there's a lot of non-leaders in the game, so if I did all of them, it'd be a pretty bulky thing, and I didn't really want to do that. And for top 25, it doesn't make sense for a tier list once I came down to the number, because theoretically they're all higher tier, and it just doesn't make sense because it's not lower tier levels to fit into. So I just wanted to do a straight ranking for this one. Starting off with rank 25, we got IG-11. And IG-11 is a de facto tank, even though it has the healer tag, but it functions as a tank. It taunts. It's very thick, hard to get through, lots of health, lots of protection, especially when you put it with Coolio. And it does a lot of good stuff. AoE tenacity down, which is always great. It cleanses your team constantly, and that's probably one of the best things. And then just, if you have the Zeta, it inflicts dots back on the other team to an insane degree. If you're doing this against Lord Vader, like I have been in Arena, it gives like 50 to 70 dots on Lord Vader, and even though it's a Galactic Legend, sometimes he dies from dots, because that's like 20,000 damage from all those, because he's taking like 300, 400 damage from each. So that's great. He gets Retribution up. He gives out Foresight to his whole team. Just pretty strong. So merited 25 for him. Next up with 24, we got Sith Trooper. Sith Trooper's not as good as it used to be, but I still like what it does. It's got an AoE cleanse for its team, whether it's First Order or Sith, which is hard to come by on those factions. It does a lot of damage, constantly assisting, and it's great on the First Order TIE Pilot Omicron team, and otherwise great for charging Supreme Leader Kylo Ren's ultimate. It's definitely fallen down in use since it came out. It was pretty great then, and it's like Anakin, takes a bonus turn when an ally dies, which isn't a good thing, but it's a nice consolation. So yeah, it's just kind of a damage machine. So I thought I merited a rank 24. Next up, for 23, we got Nest. And Nest is also not as good as she used to be, although there is solo potential still in the game if people set Maul in 3v3, which I just was able to face recently last week, and did a true solo for the team. And I don't know, I'm not an expert on Nest, but it seems like now you want health more instead of tenacity, because the damage amounts that teams can do are way up, and the tenacity used to be a big thing when the damage wasn't super high, and she could always tank the hits more. But now that damage is getting like through the roof in the game, she's gonna need a really high health pool even to survive those beginning hits before she gets her protection to stack up. She does a lot of great stuff. AoE daze, can stun, dispel, stacking great damage and stuff. So great stats. She's not only a solo monster, or she's not only a solo option, she goes well on a lot of teams as kind of a timeout risk. Like, okay, you want to counter a team with CLS, but Nest is there, you might time out or something. So pretty solid 23 for Nest. Rank 22 is Kyle Katarn. Some people said I snubbed Kyle Katarn a little bit in my Jedi ranking, but I kind of did that because of the team he's on. The Rebel Fighters, I'm not as impressed with it anymore, even with the optimal team. I don't get as much use out of it in Kyber 1, but it's still a great team across the game. It's amazing in territory battle, and he has a territory battle Omicron. Someone commented to me that they're using Kyle Katarn with Jedi now in TB, because they don't have a Galactic Legend, and he gets a ton of speed, and that's a cool use for him. He can stack his damage up a lot. Once he gets Jedi Knight, he's kind of really gets going. He's got his own special debuff, Force Influence or something. It's kind of like a Daze or Shock or something. I forget what it does, but he's pretty strong. He's got great tags, Rebel Fighter, and Jedi. And the turn meter boost he gets at the beginning is great for Rebel Fighters. And for rank 21, we got BB-8. BB-8 is a legendary, but doesn't really seem like it. It's just sits there and wiggles all the time, grants out buffs, can eventually get to Illuminated Destiny, but that rarely happens anymore. Most of the time, he just goes with General Grievous or Swordy is where I've been using him now. But that does give the team an amazing speed boost, and him with General Grievous can take out like a standard Starkiller team a lot of the time. People aren't setting that as much. They're switching up the Palpatine or Jade formula on defense, or they're taking it on offense, so that specific use is kind of going away. But BB-8 with General Grievous prevents a Bad Batch easy counter. So he mainly gets this high because of the turn meter boost at the beginning, like 40% with your full droids. But he does some other good stuff. He counterattacks and he inflicts tenacity down on his basic, which, I don't know, it's pretty nice. Alright, number 20 is R2-D2, another legendary droid that doesn't really seem that legendary. He does a lot of good stuff. He stat shares, not great numbers in today's figures, like 10% of a bunch of stats. Not sure exactly which ones. I think I know offense, health, and protection are some of them. And he provides a passive cleanse to his team when they score critical hits, so that is very helpful. Being able to force a de facto taunt with stealth is great, and he has an AoE attack that can't be evaded and inflicts burning. And that was actually kind of, the burning was a finishing blow on Galactic Legend Rey, my last Grand Arena, because Ben died, and Rey had like 1 HP, and then when it was her turn, she just died from burning, which is kind of funny. And stun on the basic is good, and he's very flexible. He's got a lot of tags: Rebel, Galactic Republic, and Resistance, so you can, and Droid, of course, so you can slot him in a ton of places. Number 19, we got Royal Guard. Royal Guard is not as flexible, and he basically wants to go with Lord Vader all the time, but with Lord Vader, he is an awesome tank. He's an R9 candidate. Mine is a piddly R5, and top players would just kind of chuckle at that, like, oh, noob, he's got an R5 Royal Guard. Well, I can't spare the mats to bring him up, but he is good, even at R5, which is where I have him just so Datacrons work with him. He's stealing, he's like doubling his health, which like under Lord Vader is a lot more because he's taking stats from them. He's got a passive taunt now and an active taunt with this ability. Grants a lot of buffs, defense up, retribution. Has stun on the basic, that's not as important. What's most important is he takes a lot of hits and he kind of passively heals up the team as well. So just by the strength of him taking hits, he's number 19 on this list. Number 18, we got Queel. Queel is significantly higher than IG-11, mainly because of his stat sharing. He's sharing 40% of his own max health, max protection, offense, and potency to Scoundrel and Droid allies, which is awesome. On the BAM team, he's incredible, and he's a big key right now to my Ravers Lord Vader counter. And I mean, plenty of people use it. It's not just mine, but he's allowing me to take Kat and give her back to General Master Kenobi, which is great because his stats allow Dash to just rip through the team. He has a special buff which gives a lot of offensive boost to Scoundrel and Droid allies, and it's unique because it's different whether you're a Droid or a Scoundrel. I think the Droid bonus is better. They get 40% offense and revive when they die with 80% health and protection. And then Scoundrels get 20% critical chance and 40% critical damage and defense penetration, which is still pretty good. It's a lot of extra damage coming out. His damage output is not great. He's mostly just a support role, but the stat sharing is what gets him this high. Number 17, we got 3PO and Chewie. Kind of similar to Queel. He shares a lot of stats. He takes them from the leader, gets 40% of a bunch of stats for him, and then he shares half of those to the rest of the team. So he was just an automatic shoo-in for the CLS team until he came around. It was like, okay, what do we use? Do we use R2-D2? Which he usually was, but it wasn't like, it was like, he's okay. But 3PO and Chewie really took it away. I love using him. I love his AoE blind. It's amazing when it lands. And his AoE is massive. He single-handedly turned CLS into a territory battle dud team and turned it into an amazing team that is my favorite to use because it's the fastest. constantly assisting when any rebel attacks, which is just incredible. One time I faced a Rogue One team and under Admiral Radis, and he just attacked so much that he built up so many exposes that K2 one-shot him because of all the exposes. Kind of funny. Next up, rank 16, we got Bad Batch Echo. And spoiler, he's the only Bad Batch on this list, and he gets up so high because he has plug-and-play viability by merit just of his speed and the fact that he has a non-damage dispel, so he can rip buffs off anybody. It's never going to be resisted, and it's at the same time an irresistible AoE daze and healing immunity. So just by merit of that one move alone allows him to help Darth Vader beat Jedi Master Kenobi. Right now, only with the special datacrons, but even so, and the fact that he's super speedy, that boosts him up. So, and not just plug and play viability. I mean, he's what makes the Bad Batch team run, and that is a great team. So that's why he merits ranking this high in the list of top non-leaders. And rank 15 is Jolie Bindo. I think I'm kind of biased towards Jolie Bindo, but being able to revive the entire team of Jedi is incredible. It's what makes Jedi Master Luke able to kind of reliably beat Jedi Master Kenobi in 5v5. Because you always have that ace in the hole, that back door, where Jolie's going to bring everyone back with like 80% health or something, and crit immunity for, I think, 5 turns or something crazy like that. So that's awesome on its own. I mean, he works well with Jedi Knight Revan, obviously, but Jedi Master Luke is also a great candidate for him. He's my insurance policy in territory battle, and he's constantly healing the team by calling them to assist, or anyone he targets heals a percentage of his health, which is usually very high. He can't lose turn meter, which kind of makes up for the fact that he's so slow. Really high health pool, so he's hard to kill, and he gets crit immunity equal to, I think crit avoidance equal to half of his tenacity. And he has really high natural tenacity, including a plus 100% tenacity in his ability. So it's very hard to crit him. You can't reduce his turn meter. And then when you have tenacity on him, it's hard to get through and debuff him. So I think he's an amazing character. Rank 15 for him. Rank 14, got Hermit Yoda. So this lines up with my Jedi ranking, where these two were kind of the top of the B tier in that faction. Hermit Yoda, he's just more plug-and-play viable. Grandmaster's training can go on anybody. You use it in raids on Kylo Ren. I use it on Lord Vader and Darth Vader in raids as well. Just pretty much any solo run in a raid, I want to bring Hermit Yoda to make it better. He heals everybody, not just Jedi. He speeds up Jedi only. But he's just great. I mean, having a locked buff that never goes off is pretty awesome, and it's double benefit for Jedi, so it's like a permanent 50% offense. And I think it gives accuracy up too. Not accuracy up, but like it gives extra accuracy too, which helps right now with the set 4 datacrons. But yeah, top 14 non-leader. Rank 13 is Dark Trooper, and it's kind of hard to know where to put Dark Trooper. I mean, just because of his immense damage potential, I put him up 13. Let me know if that's too high. He makes the Imperial Trooper team a real threat. I don't know if it can still take out any Galactic Legends. I mean, I know in certain circumstances, Shock T with Imperial Troopers can take out Lord Vader, which is crazy. And also, if you put Kylo Ren in there, he cleanses the team as well, and you can take them out. Lord Vader out with Imperial Troopers, even though you're tossing a Galactic Legend in there, and that's only in 5s. But yeah, it's mainly just the damage output. He allowed me to use Imperial Troopers to beat Jabba when he first came out, although that's pretty much never going to happen again because of the Datacron sets. Jabba has his own, and by the time that's done, Grit is going to be gone. So I don't know, I ranked him really high. Let me know if it's too high. Rank 12 is Ben Solo, and he's not as good as I thought, but he makes Rey a lot trickier to deal with just because of his like, she can't die until he's dead, and he can't die until she's under 50% health, and it can be kind of confusing if you're not used to it, and it makes, like, Jedi Master Kenobi was only like a 50% win rate against Ray with certain lineups in 3v3 last season. Like if you had Dire Training Ray with it and Ben. I mean, he does some good damage too, and he inflicts armor shred, and he does some AoE damage sometimes, but it's mainly just him keeping Ray alive that lets me rank him this high. I'm still learning the ins and outs of his kit, but he does have the Omicrons for me because I'm obsessed with GAC. So 12, I don't know, might be high, but it felt kind of like a good spot for him right now. And rank 11 is Wampa, and I love Wampa. I've been able to find uses for him and most of the past GACs. I'm always sad when I don't get to use him. Yeah, he's just so valuable. With set 5, he gets a lot of stacking, protection up. Not gonna last forever, but even without it, he's just a solo machine. Anytime I see like a separatist team, except Geos, he's not great against Geos, but any other separatist team, it's just easy fodder for him. I took out an Inquisitors plus TIE Fighter pilot with the level 9 Datacron with him. And yeah, he's just awesome. It's only in GAC, so you know my GAC bias is coming in here. And he's too high if you're just considering if you're weighting other game modes as just as important, but I think GAC is by far the most important. So he's not a leader, but he's a leader of his own faction, the Wampas. And now we're getting to the real cream of the crop, the top 10, and I hope IG11 forgives me for covering him up right now. Number 10 is Bastila Fallen, and I love her. She's so good. She's so great under Darth Revan or Emperor Palpatine. Or any kind of Sith, really. She's a great shoo-in. She is a stat sharer, but it's only for the leader, so she's a leader lover. She gives 50% defense, potency, and tenacity to her leader if they're a Sith, and foresight at the start of the battle, which is great. And they're also stacking offense when you're inflicting death mark, fear, marked, or shock on the enemy. It's only 5%, but it adds up. And then if Darth Revan is her leader, he and her get 70% max health steal. And he's also going to be recovering protection from her corrupted battle meditation. She's amazing in that she has 3 uniques. I mean, how many characters have 3 uniques other than like Galactic? Galactic Legends don't even have 3 uniques. They have like 1 normal unique and then the Galactic Legend unique. So that's crazy. She gives out so many debuffs, including Fear, which is extremely strong. Shock, her first special can turn, her second special can turn into an AoE if they have Shock. In Conquest, she's awesome because she's a support character. Yeah, ability block on her basic. I just have lots of great things to say about her. Rank 10. Rank 9, we got C3PO, and I like Bastila more than C3PO, but C3PO is super flexible. He's incredible in raids. He makes so many things work in raids because he's just resetting cooldowns on the best characters. He's great with CLS team and really allows them to punch up. He's kind of the, I don't know, he's kind of the cog that keeps the team going. It increases their damage output a ton through exposes and giving out confusion. Translation, resetting cooldowns is something you don't come by very often in the normal base game, unless it's like Datacrons or deployable cooling systems at the beginning of Conquest. But he's just great. I mean, he can fit lots of places. He was in like one of the better Jedi Master Kenobi lineups at the start before Cat came out. Just very versatile. I mean, I think he's kind of annoying sometimes in the actual movies, and it was kind of weird to me that he was a good character in the game, a battle game, but he's great. Number 9 for him. And number 8, Mara Jade. Mara Jade, I don't know, am I ranking her too high? I don't think so. First of all, in Territory War, which I have like 1 Territory War Omicron. She's insane. She gets 100% turn meter, removes all protection from her enemy team, and if she's under Palpatine, they're basically going to get full turn meter eventually, and the other team's going to have like 0 because she started out right away. She's kind of broken under set 4 Datacrons, although they're not going to last forever. Even without them, she's taking like 3 back-to-back turns. She can do AoE tenacity down, then throw out stagger bombs, and then attack with her basic, call Palpatine and Starkiller to assist. That's pretty much her home right now, but I think she's an amazing early game character if you can start getting her. especially when she's accelerated. I don't know, has that happened? I think it might not have happened yet, but I'm not paying too close attention. But yeah, she's just incredible. I love using her so much. Rank 7, Kiri Mundi. And he's another one of these characters that is like a leader, even though he's not. With his Jedi Council ability, he's really beefing up the stats of his team. Their offense goes through the roof, especially for supports and healers. They're gaining like 10% of their health. So he was kind of like a precursor to Zealous Ambition and Conquest. Not as strong, but he made made all those videos where what's his name, Amagandai was incredible under him. Right now he's so good under Qui-Gon Jinn and Anakin in Grand Arena, whether 3v3 or 5v5, just does a ton of damage. He's one of the only non-galactic legend characters I see just do 200,000 damage in a single hit on his like second or third special. And he does armor shred, double taps, just a great character. Great tags, Jedi and Galactic Republic is awesome, but his home right now is with Qui-Gon. Rank 6, Chewbacca. Does this seem high for him? I don't know. Let me know. But his guard mechanic is awesome. Preventing critical hits and stuns on Han Solo and another ally is great. That's part of what makes the CLS team so amazing. He's always assisting when they have guard. Just tenacity down on his basic. He's healing them up constantly. Got an AoE dispel. Got a stun. And he's a pilot to one of the best ships in the game, the Millennium Falcon. And he's a legendary. And as a non-leader, he is definitely one of the best on this list. All right, we're coming down the home stretch here. And number 5 is Han Solo. Han Solo is the counterpart to Chewbacca, and I'm kind of doing a turnaround from my Journey Guide ranking. I think I ranked Chewbacca over Han Solo, but I do think Han Solo is better. Shooting first and stunning, ignoring taunt, automatic stun is an enormous benefit to a team right at the beginning. And he's cycling through his turns like a madman, double tapping on his basic. He does so much damage. My favorite move is to do his first special Deadeye, and you stun someone. You recover. You get 100% turn meter as long as you have that much crit chance. And then you do his shrug, give some buffs up, and gain 50% turn meter, and pretty soon he's back to another turn, and just keeps cycling through. Also a pilot to the Millennium Falcon. Yeah, he's just a great character. He's plug and play for his shooting first. Sometimes you just need him to go out there and stun someone, like stun Watt. He's the only one that can outrun Watt. The only one that can outrun him is himself. And that's only if he's faster. It's no longer the coin flip as it used to be, which I'm glad for. But rank 5 for him seems pretty right. In rank 4, we got Wat Tambor, the aforementioned. I don't know, some people might want him higher, but he just has lost a step since the nerf. He really did. And he didn't get, unlike General Skywalker and like Darth Vader, he didn't get anything to make up for it. They just took away the ignored defense on the weapon tech. So now it's just a turn meter tech and like a keep you dead tech, like they can't revive. Basically now he just forces taunts and lets people recover a lot of health and protection, which is still good. I mean, he's valuable just because of the armor tech, mainly. But, you know, he has lost a step for me. I didn't rank him S tier in my Journey Guide ranking, and I stick by that. But he's still a great character. He's a key reason I was able to beat Lord Vader most of the season with Supreme Leader Kylo. So he merits top 4. And I think people can figure out the top 3 before I get to it. And it's kind of a tough race between 1 and 2. But I think 3 is clearly Malik. Malik is awesome. He has no leader tag, but he can be a one-man team like Wampa. And he's not dependent on Omicrons. He can just go in there, take the hits like a champ. His defense skyrockets through the roof as his health goes down. He's all health. He takes his protection pool, throws it into health. He's causing fear constantly just for being hit or getting dots on him. His Drain Life does 100% damage, 100% health damage. So get that a few times. It's incredible. If you give him a Tenacity build that also has high protection, he's almost indestructible. for a lot of teams unless they have a really high damage. Yeah, he's just really good. I mean, he ramps his offense up. He's not a damage threat from his basic or first special until that ramps up, but they're still pretty good. Inflicts tenacity down and then shock on his first special. He auto taunts anytime there's like fear or shock or death mark, I think is the other one. But he is one of the kind of prototypes for a Galactic Legend type character. They took some inspiration from his kit with the being immune to non-damage health effects, which started with Kylo Ren, I know. But Malik is just way better than almost any other character that is not a leader. So now we are to the top 2, the best non-leader characters in SWGOH. And number 2, I have to give it to Starkiller. He's definitely a candidate for number 1. It's an argument over the eventual number 1, which you'll see. But what limits him is he's GIC focused. I mean, he does do good stuff in Territory War when Johanni's with him. But he really loves Grand Arena with all those Omicrons. Insane amounts of stat sharing. He gives like plus 80 speed to his team. Reduced damage when the enemy is debuffed. That's why his team can tank Whirlwinds from Rey. Just not die at all. The Star Destroyer of Healing is a great way to finish off a match if you're able to, and then it's just a full banners locked in. His basic, is it like the only AoE basic in the game? And it does tons of damage. He can throw his barrel and does a lot of debuffs. He can just mass dispel everyone and increase their damage based on the amount of buffs dispelled. His team takes out Galactic Legends, specifically Rey most of the time. I think there's others as well. He's very flexible and inflexible at the same time, though. He has to take a random batch of unaligned Force users and then Jedi and Sith. So it opens up a lot of theory crafting potential. But the fact that he's more focused in Grand Arena did limit him a little bit for me. Not too much, because he's still number 2. But he is almost like a Galactic Legend on his own, and definitely way more worth farming, even in the earlier game, because of his accelerator requirements. And I'm sure you guessed the number 1. It's Commander Ahsoka Tano. And even though she has Commander in her title, she is not a leader. She works super well with a variety of teams, mostly Galactic Republic, but also Scoundrels and also unaligned Force users. And people know her the most for that insta-kill under Jedi Master Kenobi on like her first turn is incredibly overpowered. But what's also overpowered is the amount of stat sharing she does. Well, it's not even stat sharing. It's just her team, as long as there's only one Scoundrel, Unaligned Force user, or Galactic Republic, she's giving out like 50% health, offense, critical damage, defense, I think. Just insane boosts. And before I got my Queel up and running and up to speed, she was what helped me counter Lord Vader, Super Lord Vader, with Rey, but now I don't need her for that anymore. Swapping turn meter is also a great thing. She's amazing in territory battle. She just rips through the droids, and every wave she can do her Annihilate ability. First off, take out a droidica or something. So yeah, I mean, she is what makes JMK the best Galactic Legend by far. He's probably still the best, even if she didn't exist, but she just takes him to a whole nother level and helps him solo the raid, helps other teams solo the raid. She's the only one capable of soloing the Sith raid without a Galactic Legend, as far as I know. Just incredible character, and I think she deserves this top spot. And she was one of the first Conquest characters when Conquest was super easy and you didn't even have to use crystals to refresh. So think about that. And also to wrap up, I got some honorable mentions here. I'm not going to go into detail about all of them, but I think all these characters kind of had our argument to squeeze in at the end. I just didn't give him the nod. I mean, Lando's too new. I don't think he's that critical outside of a Jabba team, and it really needs Jabba to do anything. But all these characters have great uses, and they don't have the leader tag, like this Omicron, but that's pretty limited, and he sucks otherwise. But yeah, that's it for me. Let's go back to the other slide, and let me know what you think. This is my top 25 non-leaders, and it's very hard to decide, so I'm sure there could be a lot of differences of opinion here, and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time.